Okay. All right. So I've been just kind of racking my brain, trying to decide what I was going to discuss this week. And as y'all know, we've kind of splitting these meetings up a little bit now. I'm just doing pretty much one a month. And so, hey, Suzanne. So this is kind of my week to do something before the rest of the team. We have some people that come in. Hang on one second. Sorry. Gloves on. These are soaking wet. Are you sure? What do you have over here? Sorry, mommy moment. Here, very quick. I gotta go. Just trying, and then one of the things that I've been focusing on this last year has been personal growth and really trying to figure out work-life balance. And so I'm just gonna preface this by saying I'm not an expert. This is a growth place for me.
I'll just turn it on.
Sorry. This is a growth place for me. This is something that that I am continuing to work on, that I'm a work in progress in. But wanted to share some of my tips and some of my thoughts with you, so that hopefully you grasp all of this at an earlier stage in your business journey than I have, and can use it to really flourish in where you're at and not get burned out. So what I'm going to share with you today, I love when Brittany joins us from the floor, the gym. What I'm going to share with you today, I want to preface again by just saying this is a diamond mindset meeting. If you are not growing your business with the idea that you're going to be a diamond someday, then some of these things may come off a little too direct. And so just take those things with a grain of salt and fit them into your business the way that they will. And that just leads me into saying, in order to have work-life balance, you have to be okay with your business looking different than other people's businesses. Okay. And that is something that I've had to really learn probably the hard way, because I am in a little bit different situation than a lot of my other teammates, in that I live completely overseas. I have a very small team now in England because most of them have moved, but a very large team in the States. So when I'm ready to shut down at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, y'all are just waking up and getting ready for the day. And that tends to clash with my life balance, because I do have 2 children and a husband that are near and dear to my heart. And we kind of, that's kind of our time together. So I've had a lot over the last 2.5 years trying to figure out, how do I do both? How do I balance making sure that I'm not, neglecting my family, my home life, to grow a business. And so sorry guys. Yes.
I was asking her that
Listen,
please help me with my stuff to get on.
Okay.
And I was yelling at her 3 times.
Yeah, well,
she wasn't listening.
Okay, listen. We don't need to yell, and I'm sorry that you're frustrated, but you need to go try to do it yourself, or you need to wait. Or you need to wait until mommy's done with her meeting. But I have a meeting now. You need to stop coming in here. You understand? Okay. Goodbye. I love you. Sorry. This is part of that. Okay. So close my door, please. But in order to be okay with your business looking different, you also have to prepare your speed. Okay. You may be somebody that wants to grow really quickly and wants to get to the top of this company quickly. That's going to make your business and your work-life balance look very different than somebody that says, hey, I just want to get my products paid for, or hey, I want to be a diamond, but I'm okay with it taking 10 years. What that looks like for every individual business owner, because that's what you are, is a business owner, is going to look different for everybody. And that's okay. And part of And another piece of that is sometimes we don't get a choice in the speed of our business. Some people join Plexus the way that I did, had no clue that this was even going to be a business for our family, dove in at a certain point, and my business exploded organically because people needed it. It overwhelmed me completely and caused me to burn out. And so that is what I want to help with today, is to hope that if you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling burnout, or if you're feeling like you don't know how to do both, have balance in your life and in your business, how you can either take steps backwards or take steps forwards to make that look different. So I want to ask a couple of questions to y'all. Somebody just unmute yourself and tell me, why did you or why do you want to choose network marketing over a traditional career?
I'll go.
Well, I want.
Oh, Brittany, go ahead.
Oh, Val. No, you go, girlfriend.
Network marketing gives me the flexibility of being home and a better chance of, my kids are raised, so me being home isn't a big deal, but I have other goals and dreams, and a career wouldn't accomplish those at all, not even close. So that would be why I'm doing it.
Okay. Brittany?
Well, I want to be with my kids. I've got a form, and I just want to show them that you can be a mom and a business owner. Can you hear me?
I can.
You might
now.
not be able to hear me. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to teach my kids about a 4 and 5-year-old daughter, and I just want to show them that you can run a successful business home and still be involved in their activities throughout the year.
Awesome. Anybody else have a reason why they have chosen network marketing over a traditional career?
I actually joined and just wanted to pay my products. And then I realized there's no other opportunity that I have at my stage of life and with my special needs son and my other 2 kids where I can have this much, I don't have that growth potential at a job in 5 years, So that was, the opportunity for where I'm at. I don't have to go back to school, or I don't have to. Childcare was a big factor for us because the last time I went to look to go back to work, my kids got the flu, and it occurred to us, how am I going to manage my sick kids and a job and my husband and homework and everything, So for me, it's just the opportunity that I have, for my 5-year plan.
Absolutely. So most of you have shared something that has expressed needing to have time freedom, right? So what I wanted to challenge you on, though, is, and I'm guilty of this, I'm guilty of putting so much time and effort into my business that I've fallen short of that, and that I have that I tend to drown myself in what I do, and so then there's really no time freedom. I'm working so hard that I'm not taking the time. That the whole reason I wanted to do this is to be able to have that balance, to be able to be home with my kids and be able to do the things that I love to do, and make a financial impact on my family and to help others. If I am sitting here telling my kids, no, wait, no, sorry, can't, nope, got to do this, nope, got a meeting, nope, can't help you today, then I'm defeating the purpose. I should go get a 9-to-5 job because it would be easier than what I've been doing. And so that's kind of where I found myself last year, and still struggle with some of those things, like I said, because I have a different situation where I'm overseas and time zones are different. So I have worked through some of that, and I'm going to share some of that with you kind of towards the end, what my life looks like today. But I want to kind of just give you some tools. So I want you to, first of all, I want you to know your goals, and then I want you to break them down into 3 areas. The first of those are going to be your what goals, your career goals. What do you want your rank to be? What do you want your career, your journey of your career to look like? What is your further career? Maybe it's not, like I know for Brittany, I know she wants to be a diamond, but I know eventually she wants to be a motivational speaker. That's something that's always on her heart. So what are your career goals? Where do you want to go with this business? And then what are your financial goals? What do you want to accomplish financially for your family and for your life? Find out what the negotiables and your non-negotiables are, and focus there. Okay. Let's see. Then I want you to have your why. Your why goals. We know what a why is. We talk about that all the time. What is your why? What is your personal why, your health why, your family why? Why do you want to achieve the what goals? Okay, so why do you want to achieve those goals? And that might look something like, I want to be home with my kids. So in order, maybe you work full time. In order to be home with your kids, you have to have a full-time income in order to do that. Maybe you, maybe you don't. Maybe you just wanted to, maybe your career goals are to just be able to pay your car payments, and so you want to reach gold. So why? And that's, I want to be able to pay my car payments. I want to be able to take a little bit of stress off of my husband. Those kind of things. And then the third piece of that is to break it into your how goals. Okay, so your personal and your professional growth goals. This is how are you going to do that in order to enjoy the why goals? Okay, so for those of you that just jumped on, we're breaking down your goals into 3 areas. Your what goals, which are your career goals, your why goals, which are your personal health and family goals, and then how goals, which are how are you going to achieve those things. Reading the 5 Levels of Leadership book this last few months with our team has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And one of the chapters in that is called Production. And that is, I believe, the 3rd level of leadership. And when you're talking about production, first of all, you need to know that your people, your team are going to do what they see. So you need to make sure that whatever you're doing is what you're portraying is what you want your team to portray, because they're going to follow in that. So if you want to grow really, really quickly, but you only want to work, 5 hours a week, that may need to change, because you're not going to be able to do that and teach your team to work, 10 hours a week. It's not going to balance. Okay. But in that production level, he talks about asking yourself 3 questions. So when you're talking about your how, like how you're going to get there, and I want you to write down your tasks. Okay. When it comes to your business, I want you to write down your tasks. And I want you to write down what are the negotiables and what are the non-negotiables. A couple examples of those for business things are my non-negotiables are going to be reaching out and posting on Facebook. Those are the 2 things that are key to this business that really are non-negotiable. It doesn't mean you have to reach out to 15 people, but you have to reach out at some point in this business. But my negotiable might be, okay, I know I need to post on my team page, but that's probably the last thing for me that's super duper important every single day, because it's not producing. We have a lot of different avenues to do that with. We have a private chat that we do so much of our work in that that kind of falls to my negotiable. I want to do it, I need to do it, but how many times a week I have to do it is a little bit different. So pick your negotiables and your non-negotiables, figure out that and order those from most important to least important. Okay. And then he wants you to ask yourself 3 questions. what is required of me? That's your first question. What must I do? And we just talked about a few of those things. What must I do every day? Then what gives me the greatest return? What should I be doing every day? And then what is the most rewarding? So what do I love to do? Okay. When you're breaking down those pieces, early on in your career, your must do is going to be the largest piece of your pie. Eventually, you're going to be able to have a mind shift where you're going to be able to do, you're going to have the should do's and love do's are going to be a big piece of that. Eventually, hopefully with your business, your should do's and love do's, they're all going to be kind of put into one pile, because with network marketing, you get to choose what you do, and you should love what you do. If you don't love being, in network marketing, and you would rather be working in the cubicle, that's what you should be doing. Don't do something that you don't love to do. Now, with that being said, you have to have balance in order to achieve loving network marketing. If you, again, we talked about that being really when I was really unbalanced, where I was, telling my kids no every single day and doing, only work. I wasn't loving that, because I was feeling like I'm really neglecting them. The whole reason I want to do this is so I can stay home. I'm not feeling like I'm being mom. I'm feeling like I am, I'm neglecting the time with them, and they're only little ones. And it's been really heavy on my heart over the last year and to the last few months of how do I fix this? How do I do both? And you're not going to be perfect. Okay. It's going to take trial and error, and it's probably going to take you a good year to figure out how you're going to balance your work life and your business life. And that's okay. Okay. So some of those pieces, in order to achieve them, these are the other things that I think you need to have. One of the things that Rachel Neagle said to me, I reached out to her at one point, and I was going on a little side trip with my family just to get out of the house. It was just a local Airbnb, and I had noticed that I had really neglected time with my family, and I really needed to kind of shut off from my business. But I was really stressed out that I was going to, that they were going to feel neglected. Okay. That I have built this business where everybody on my team, first mistake, is used to having access to me 24/7. Okay. And so when they, reach out, I was there to answer. And people have told me from the beginning of this business to set office hours. I've never done that. I've never felt like it fit right for me, and I still don't feel like it fits right for me. But what I have learned is that it's okay to shut down a little bit, that there is no emergency in Plexus, and that everything will still be there when you get back. And the way that I feel like we've been able to achieve that as a team, one of the biggest pieces of that is our group chat. If you're not in it and you'd like to be in it, please let me know. But it is where all of our business builders are in one group chat, and every time anybody has a question, they can ask it there. And if I'm not available, because a lot of times I'm sleeping when y'all are wide awake, I'm not available, we have team members that are jumping on answering questions. And we've built a community of love and respect, and that everybody is willing to help everybody. And that has been a really big joy of mine. And it's also given me as a leader a little bit of time freedom. And so if I would suggest, if you have, if you're on our team and comfortable doing it, plug your people in there, because they're going to have a safe place. They're going to have a safe place to ask questions and connect. Hang on, you guys. Sorry. You're going to have a safe place to connect and be loved on, even if you need to take some time. So I am feeling a lot less guilty being able to say, hey, this is when I'm available today, or I don't respond because I'm busy. Oh my gosh, my husband is sleeping and gonna freak out. The kids are screaming. And so that's something that we have made as a team. So we still have our team page. We do use it for information purposes, but our business builders are really, really plugged into our team thread. And it has been, it's been a really great place to build relationships and pray over each other and just have, just have answers when you need them so that you don't have to go searching for everything all the time. So it's nice. But one of the things that Rachel said to me when I reached out to her and I said, I'm really struggling with this, she said, Ansley, 99% of America takes weekends off. It's okay if you do too. And I get kind of emotional over that because she's so right. You have to take time for you. You have to fill your cup too. And you cannot work this business 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and not burn yourself out. You can't. And if you're doing that, stop. Right today, stop. Okay? Because it's not worth it, because what you're going to do, you're going to damage your business because you're going to push and push and push and push. And then you are not going to be able to sustain that. And so then you're going to just walk away for 2-3 weeks and then pick back up. And I see this all the time, especially towards the end of the month, that people push. And I want you to push towards the end of the month. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to be it's the end of the month, I want to take the day off. But I want you to push. But I don't want you to take the first 2 weeks of the month off because you exhausted yourself. Figure out where that balance is. Today is the last day of the month. And it's a Wednesday. So guess what? I'm working all day. But if it was a Sunday, I would probably carve out 2 hours that I was going to be able to look at my numbers and figure out what fits in there. And I might take, or I might work the full day on Sunday and take Wednesday, prior to that off. But that is the beauty of this business, is that you get to figure that out. It's your business, not mine. You figure out what works for you. So she told me it's okay to take weekends off. Okay. And that kind of gave me a space to feel like I could take a deep breath. And I just thought, you know what? She's right. So my journey right now is that my IPA happens non-negotiable 5 days a week. Okay. I do work, some hours on Saturdays and Sundays. It just looks different every week. Currently, my husband is on mid shift, which is the night shift, and so he has Thursday nights. I'm sorry. Okay. I need you to go. Friday nights off because he works Thursday night into Friday during the day. And he has Friday night off, and then he has Saturday night off, and then he works Sunday night. So right now in our current season for the next month, Friday night, I'm done. I turn off before he wakes up from his sleep all day. Probably about 3-4 o'clock after the kids get out of school. And then if I need to do something on Saturday, I tell him, we carve out some time, and then I work, but I usually take Saturday most of the day off. It's kind of one of those things where, at least for me, it looks like I work from my phone that day. So if I need to answer some messages here and there, I do. I try to see if, our team takes care of it on its own. And if it does, then I take the time.
Hi, Nana.
And then on Sundays, after he goes to work at 10 o'clock, I usually stay up for 2 hours and get, I think it's broken. Okay, girls, do you remember me talking to you about getting on this meeting today? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, when I come get you is when you can come back in here, okay? No more, please, or you're going to lose more iPad time. Close the door, please. I'm sorry. You're going to have to wait till I'm done. Ellie, you're going to break it. Sorry, guys. Okay, so then, so it's okay to take the weekends off. You need to fit in time that's going to fill your cup. I don't know what that looks like for you, okay? But it needs to be something. If that means once a month you need to get your nails done, go get your nails done. If it means you like hot baths, get yourself a bath ball from the 99-cent store and take a hot bath, okay? Take some kind of time for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. If you just really love, being with your kiddos, then do that. Whatever that looks like, make sure you're doing something weekly or monthly to fill your cup, not your husband's cup, not your kid's cup, your cup. Okay, that's important. And I don't know what that looks like for everybody. It's different for everybody, but make sure you're doing that. The next thing is to fit in time to be healthy. If you're not an exercise guru, that's okay. But do something. Oh goodness. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry. Fit in time to be healthy, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe, I'm not saying go diet. I'm not saying you have to be an exercise guru. I'm just saying do what feels good for you. Find something, because number one, you're in a health and wellness company. If you are not acting the part and actively trying to be healthy, why would anybody want to take health advice from you, right? Sorry if that's a little harsh, but it is what it is, okay? We are selling health and wellness products, or we are saying focus on your health. Gut health is important. We can't be taking pictures of our cheeseburgers every day, okay? Can't. But whatever that looks like for you, find either, figure out you need to drink more water. Maybe that's your health goal. Maybe it's just taking a walk to take in some scenery. Maybe it is, you want to go to the gym every day. If that's what it is, then fit that into your priorities. And then the next thing is tough for everyone. A couple of you have had this conversation, or I've had this conversation with you. Learn to say no. Okay, and this is a big one for me. We have so many leaders. We have so many team pages. We have a lot of opportunities for a lot of different trainings, a lot of different places to plug in, and a lot of different choices. You do not have to do it all, okay? Pick 3 or 4 things a month that fit really good for you. If that means you're jumping on a team meeting, whether it's mine or somebody else is on our team or another leader that fits well with you, do that, okay? If it's a book study, don't pick 3 where you're overwhelmed. Pick 1, okay, and focus on that. Because here's what happens. If you bite off a chunk and you're doing 10 different things, you're going to do 10 different things, poor or mediocre. It's impossible for you to do 10 different things really, really well. Okay, so it's okay to say no. If we jump into something and then Plexus also offers something and then another leader offers something, find what you think is going to be a great focus for your team for that month and stick with it, okay? And do it really well. Don't do it all. And then raise up your leaders to help you. This is one of the reasons you're going to see a lot more people on these meetings than just me, because I love to do these things. And one of the things that I'm reading, I told you, if you haven't read this book, 5 Levels of Leadership, please, 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 please put this on your list. But one of the things that he talks about being a good leader is letting go of control. And I'm not good at that. And I'm going to admit that. I like my business the way that I've grown my business. I like it done a certain way. I'm used to it. It works for me. But here's the deal. In order to have time freedom, I can't do everything on my own. And so that's where you have to make that mind shift of going, okay, I'm going to raise up other leaders to be able to do things that I do so that I can take a step back. That doesn't mean you're going to sit back and do nothing, that you're not going to grow your business. It just means that you're not going to do everything. I can't do every team meeting and post on our team page and, get my own personal IPA in and raise a family and take care of a husband, y'all. That's totally separate from everything else. You can't do it all. Okay. So, so one of the things he says is if somebody, so part of the reasons that leaders have a hard time letting go is because they feel like they could do it faster and more efficiently if they do it themselves. And I understand that, and I am very guilty of that. But how is anybody else going to learn? Okay, if you're teaching your kids to tie their shoes, you're eventually going to have to let them try, right? You're teaching them how to do a chore. You're eventually going to have to help them try. And if they screw up royally, then you talk about how you fix it, and then you try again. But unless you relinquish some of that control, you're going to do it all, and you're going to burn out again. So he says, find somebody that can do a task 80% as good as you can and turn it over. Okay? So, so although I will be on these meetings 100% of the time, hopefully, I'm going to let some of that go. I love doing, this is my calling, y'all. My favorite thing to do is to pour into our team. I could do this part all day, every day. I love training people. I love working with people. I love pouring into my team. But I have a lot of other things that I have to accomplish in a business, and so do you. So we can't all do it all. Okay, so raise up your leaders to help. So find tasks, help them achieve those, and help raise them to be really great leaders. So going back to your how goals, Mel was talking about time blocking. So I wanted to bring that up. You need to know two things. Know yourself enough to know when you are the most productive. I am most productive at night. I'm a night owl. I like to be up at night. My mom is shaking her head. It is a habit. It's probably not a great habit, but it is my most productive time. I do not like to get up in the morning. It takes me, you ask her, like 2 hours to get out of the house in the morning because I like dilly-dally and get up, drink my pink drink, have my coffee, walk around with wet hair. Like, look, y'all, I mean, I did take a shower today, but it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I just put my makeup on and scrunched my hair. It's just sometimes the way my life is. I'm busy and I like being up. I like being up late. And I'm more effective in the evening than I am during the day. But if you're not, that's okay. You find when you're the most productive and figure out, so the second piece is figuring out a tool, a productivity tool that works best for you. So you may be a list maker, you may be a time blocker, you may be an electronic person, whatever your tool is, find it and do it well, okay? So I was going to just read what she had to say. She said she's the queen of time blocking. If you want to learn, hit me up. I run 3 businesses and must time block, which includes me time. Valerie said, this is one problem for me. I don't want to miss a meeting or a book study because I know I need to learn and grow. Yes, Val, but you have to have time for you, and you have to have time to pour into your family, or this is not going to ever feel like time for you. Okay. And it's okay. In the beginning of my journey, I did everything because I wanted to learn everything and I wanted to grow really fast. Okay. But eventually, especially when you have a team that you are constantly having, because your goal is to lead them, to teach them how to do what you're doing. I promise you, because this is an issue that I have, I promise you, you are not going to sell this business very well if somebody says to you, Valerie, how many hours a day do you work your business? And you say 12, okay? Because they're not going to want to do that. They could go working 9 to 5 and work less than that, okay? So you can't work this business 12 hours a day and expect other people to do the same thing, or it's not going to become very appealing to them. Okay, and this has been my issue. I'm, like I said, very, very, very guilty of this because I absolutely 150% love what I do. And sometimes enjoy that more than I enjoy the other things that I do. Okay, so I want you to, so 2 more pieces. You need to talk with your shareholders. Okay, once you figure out what your why is, You need to sit down with your shareholders. Your shareholders are your family members. You need to find out if your what and your why goals line up together. And if not, you need to adjust those. If you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go diamond in 3 years, or let's say emerald, I'm going to go emerald in 3 years. And your husband's like, we're about to lose another vehicle. We can't even afford one. We need a free car. Like, you need to speed this up. Like, then you need to adjust those goals together. If you want all of these things and your husband says, but babe, the most important thing to me is that you have time with our kids, then you're going to need to adjust those based on what your family needs are. Okay. So have those conversations. That includes your children. Okay. I tell this story often because was a really touching moment in my career. I left, it was Leaders Retreat 2 years ago. And this was what they told us to do. They said, go home and have a conversation with your shareholders. Well, my husband was deployed, and so I didn't have the ability to do that. But I took my little girls to lunch or dinner that night, and I sat down with them, and I just said, I asked them how they felt about mommy working. And they were, 3 and 4 at the time, I think. And my oldest, my 4-year-old, said, Mommy, I love that you do Plexus. And I said, why? And she said, because we get to go fun places and do fun things because you make money. And she understood that at 4. And I said, but baby mommy's on the phone a lot. She's like, that's okay, Mommy. And she just kind of explained it the best that she could as a 4-year-old. But it gave me the freedom to do what I love to do. It gave me the ability to know that I'm not harming my children. Had she said to me, no, Mommy, you ignore me and you don't spend time with me and I don't like Plexus, then I would know it was affecting her. But instead, I knew it was something that was positive. And she knew. She said, we don't get to come to see Nana unless you do Plexus. She knew that. And so it was a moment for me to be able to say, kind of that pat on the back. Okay, Mama, you're doing a good job. Okay. And so you need to know where you stand with that with your children and with your husband. And if you need to make any adjustments to make sure that you're able to fill all those cups. And so how do you fill everybody's cup? Okay. That's the next piece, right? How do you fill everybody's cup? How do you, number one, make sure you're taking some time for you. That's really, really important because if you, like I said, if you're feeling burnout, you can't pour into others with an empty cup. Okay. That's plain and simple. You just can't. And then you need to take time to pour into your family. And so for us, it looks different than other people because, again, we're on time zone differences. But what I usually tell others is what I actually got from Bridget Ryan when I went to my very first convention, and my sister and I were growing really quickly in our business. So we pulled her aside, and we said, how do you raise a family of 7 and go diamond in 12 months? Because she had gone diamond in 12 months. And we thought, oh my gosh, how is it even possible? And she said, I had to learn to unplug. So she told us that when she would go out to dinner with her family, she would turn her phone off and she would leave it in the glove compartment of her car because she knew if she had it, she would answer it. And that is still me. If I know that somebody needs me, then because I'm a people pleaser, I feel a need. And so I've had to learn to, if we're making dinner, I have to shut my phone off. Okay. So figure out and that goes back to talking to your shareholders. It is the most important thing to my husband is that when I am committed to spending time with him or with the family, that I'm 100% focused on that. And so he said, we talked a long time ago and it would be, I would say, well, we're spending lots of time together. We're watching TV. He's like, no, I'm watching TV. You're watching your phone. You're posting on Facebook or whatever. And so he's like, I was like, well, we're not talking or anything. So what does it matter? He's like, because it shows me that you're unplugged, that you want to spend time with me, whether we're having a conversation or not. And if that's important to him, then it's important to me. and everybody's marriage and family life looks different. But so for me, when we spend time one-on-one, so if I'm sitting down at dinner, or I'm cooking dinner, or we're watching a movie, or playing a board game, my phone goes off or goes in the other room or goes to charges, and we disconnect. That we also talk through everything we do. If it's on a weekend and I have to work because I took a weekday off, then I will tell him, like, if let's say we're driving to IKEA is an hour and a half from us, and we do this every, few months. And so I will tell him I'm going to work on the way up, and then I'm going to turn my phone off. And so I will message and do my business on the way there on my phone. And then I will shut it off and put it away, and we will spend some time together. And then I will get back to business at the end of the day. Right now, this is looking a little bit different for me. I'm trying something new. I'm getting up in the morning, trying to get my IPA done first thing after I get my kids to school. Some days I am going to the gym or working out at home, or whatever, and that looks a little different. But trying to get my IPA done and out of the way before I do anything else. And then I'm kind of taking some time to make sure that I am, doing some laundry, or making sure the dishes are done or whatever, and getting some of my stuff done because you guys are sleeping. And so it allows me some time to be able to do things where I don't need to be sitting in my office, because my MO is to sit in my office during that time. And then when y'all need me, to come back to my office. And so I'm spending 8 hours a day in here, and that doesn't work. So, so right now, I told you my husband's on the night shift. So right now, after school, I cut off. Okay, I cut off from the world. I am focused solely on my children, because they're in school all day, and their daddy, works at night, and so we only get a short window of time to be a family. And so I am shutting off when I get home from school, or when they get home from school. I'm cooking dinner. We're sitting down as a family. We're trying to incorporate board games. That's kind of been our new thing, is playing a game or doing something, making sure that I am in bed with them, reading a story, and tucking them in at night. And then my husband's working on a promotion. So he goes and studies about we get the kids to bed about 8 o'clock. So he goes and studies, and I come in my office and work from, 8 to 10 or 8 to midnight, whatever that looks like for me, depending on the day. And that changes. So, but just figure out what works for you guys. So right now I'm working in the evenings, and I enjoy that. But in a month, his schedule changes, and he's home in the evening. So that's going to change for us. But anyways, that's kind of how we're balancing work and life. Right now, my most important thing has been to make sure that I am not neglecting my children, because I do find that lately, especially with some of the baby fever that I've had, that I have to figure out how to balance that if we're going to continue to grow this business, this baby, because I don't want to miss out on the little moments. So I'm going to step back, I'm going to go through your messages, and then let y'all ask questions and tell me your thoughts, and then we'll sign off. So Annalisa says, I was asked to clock in and clock out. I'm just hearing my daughter right now. That's what she said to you?
No, when you were talking about not getting up and the dilly-dally in the morning, I was like, oh, my daughter. It's just hard when you have to get out the door and you're like,
Uh-huh.
But I actually started time blocking for her. Okay. So I said, you have 10 minutes to wake up and get dressed, you have 10 minutes to eat, and you have 10 minutes to brush your teeth and get your backpack. And since we've done that, we've had less tardies, and we've had a lot less arguments. So. Oh,
that's awesome. That's good. My daughter said the same thing to me. She likes to sleep in. I like to sleep in. So I was kind of going to the end of that moment, and then we were rushing, and she's like, Mommy, can you wake me up 10 minutes earlier? I'm like, okay. So we've had to kind of adjust that too, because my habit has been to stay up late at night to work, and then I'm tired in the morning. So, So I totally understand that. Alexa says, my husband's actually upset with me right now because of going back to my 8 to 5 job instead of being home with my babies. But it's hard to not stress bills. That's why I joined, to let myself find the freedom so I don't have to work. Guilty of always answering my phone and makes everybody upset. Okay, so Alexis, I don't relate because I've not had to work while I've had my children except for this business, but I can completely understand what that looks like because I used to have a corporate America job and before I had kids, and I remember saying, like, and this is why I do this career, because I was done at 5 o'clock. I'd come home and we'd go out to eat because I had no energy to cook dinner. I didn't want to clean my house and I was drained. But I can, and I understand the stress of bills. That's definitely a big one. And I hope you find that with your husband, sitting down and just talking about if he wants you to stay home, how hard you have to work now to be able to allow that to happen so that you can take some steps back from work. And then, again, talk to him about what are his most important things. When you're answering your phone, what upsets him about it, and find balance in that, because I also had to have tough conversations with my husband and say, you have all these expectations of wanting us to be successful in this business, but then you don't want me to do the job. The job is I have to answer my phone. I have to be available when people need me. And so we've had to kind of figure out how to balance that. So it goes both ways. Mel, lots of talking. Why not ask others? Oh, sorry. Take the stress and use it as motivation. You go, oh yeah, just telling Alexa, sorry, I was just reading through these. Now, so what is y'all's biggest challenges? I think some of y'all have expressed that on here, but is there anything else that you know, or maybe wanting to know why or how you work certain things or fit things in, or, you know, what that looks like for others? Or does anybody have a really great system that they use?
I just want to, I struggle with consistency. I do really good for about a week or two, and messaging has always been something I have a hard time with. And so for some reason this last month, someone mentioned like dating, and I started thinking of like prospecting that way. Would I be interested in someone who's only messaging me every 2 months? Like, they know, you can feel it when someone's crossing you off their list, like just swinging back around to ask you about my products, just swinging back around another month later. And so I've been trying to be more consistent with messaging, and not just messaging about Plexus, but messaging about life, because I just realized I was giving people the impression that I only care about whether or not they do Plexus, and that is not the case. I do care about the other things going on. I just get so excited that I'm like, Plexus, Plexus, Plexus all the time, Plexus. And I realized, like, if that had been my approach that had been done with me, I would have been like, whoa, you are coming on too much. Like, take it easy. So I think in that way, I'm trying to be more consistent about messaging more often and mixing in some Plexus, some personal when I'm doing that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I've definitely done the same. I've had to, I've really taken a step back in how I approach my business and how I talk to people. And we've trained on that recently and talked about how your 531 may be 5 people that you're reaching out to say, hey, how's your day? Not, you know, have you tried my products? And really just building those relationships because of exactly what you said. You know, I just talking to somebody yesterday saying that I just had somebody reach out to me about Usborne books, and you could tell it was a cookie cutter message. And I'm like, dude, I do this for a living. Like, I know what you're doing, you know, but But it was one of those things where I looked at it and I was like, I don't even really know who she is. She's never reached out to me before. And then I had to go, okay, when I'm messaging, would I answer these messages? How would I want to be reached out to? And so I've had to revamp that a little bit.
The other thing is I'm super anxious when I do it. I literally have panic attacks when I'm sending messages. And so I've started saying, the thing is, somebody said on Super Saturday, it's like witnessing Jesus in our life, right? We're not responsible for the outcome. We're just here to tell them, hey, Plexus has done this for my friend, or it's done this for me, or it's done this for my husband, or it's done this. And we're not responsible for the outcome. Mm-hmm. So that has made messaging better, that I can just say, hey, just wanted to let you know, I saw last week you said you're having migraines. I know tons of people who have been successful taking products and helping with their migraines. And then I'm less like worried that it has to be, they need to sign up with me this month.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Totally agree. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
I missed.
Mal, I can't hear you.
I unmuted.
There we go. Got it.
The task, what I must do, what I should do, and then what gives me the
what I must do, what I should do, what I love to do. What is the most rewarding?
Okay. Thanks.
So I know this was a lot of information, but what I want you to get out of this today is to really remember why you do what you do, and figure out what your priorities are, what your negotiables and your non-negotiables are, and what it looks like for your family to achieve those. And understand that it's okay that your business may look different than mine, may look different from Susie Q's, but that you're going to achieve your goals in the amount of time that you want to. And so splitting those things up into what, why, and how. And if you're stuck on the how, you don't know how to get there, reach out and ask, so we can help you come up with those things. And just making sure that you have a reasonable time, time frame for your goals, and what that looks like, and to not get burnout. I don't want anybody to say, I've been working my business 7 days a week, and so I'm going to take 3 weeks off. That's not going to, it's not going to grow your business sustainably. Just like Annalisa was saying about being consistent. Rather you be consistent, hopefully 5 days a week, and take some time for yourself and for your family. Unplug. You need to unplug, than to work 7 days a week and then be exhausted and not be able to take time for this. So, anybody else?
I would say that, especially as people in here, as you're growing your team, I think this has been my biggest struggle, and that is that balance between leading the team and growing yourself, because it's so exciting when you've got momentum underneath you and you're leading and all of that. But keep in mind, and do this early, guys, you must have points outside your primary leg. So you have to keep going wide, because if you don't, you will lead your team, you'll get to this great momentum and stuff, and then they'll be very used to all of that. And then all of a sudden you have to balance your time, step back, because you've got to, grow your level ones. And so, I've tried it so many different ways. I've tried, a whole month of just focusing on my team and a month of focusing on myself. I've tried a mix. And so I still don't have it right. And so that part about leading your team the way you would want, them to lead and grow. And so I think that although it feels like I'm hands off a little bit right now, I have a really great business builder underneath me that's willing to, and probably wouldn't have been willing to step up and lead if I hadn't gotten out of the way, because she's shy, kind of introverted, but she's really finding a dynamic part of her that she didn't know she had. And so letting her do that. The insecurity or the insecure part of me is like, oh my gosh, they don't even know who I am, but it doesn't matter, because the growth is there, because I have to focus on, just really going wide and building, outside, because, she's my primary leg, so.
I promise you, and I've been there too, I promise you, if your team doesn't see you growing, they won't work as hard. So it is really important that you are, like Annalisa said, feeding your family first. It is not selfish to grow your own team, okay? Your team wouldn't be there unless that's what you chose to do, and you are changing lives and financial futures every time you add a new ambassador to your team. So it is not selfish to grow your own team. It is important that you're pouring into your team, but if you go into management mode and only pour into your team, your business will stall out or go backwards, okay? There is no standing still. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. So if you're not growing, you are going backwards. Tough as that sounds, it is the truth. All right, so just gonna, go back before we end this and just say, make sure you're filling your cup. Make sure you're checking with your shareholders, because if you have, just like they say, happy wife, happy life. I promise you, if your family is committed to the same goals that you are, this business will be a lot easier, because you will be on the same page. You won't be saying, oh, wait, but I got to go do this, and then them rolling their eyes and being frustrated. They will understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you'll be on the same page together. And then make sure that you're plugging your team members into a place that if you're not there, you don't have the time, that they're not feeling neglected, and that they have other teammates and other leaders to learn from and grow from. And I always say that I tell people all the time, I don't care who you plug in with somebody, because I'd rather you grow from somebody that you love plugging in with than to not grow at all because you didn't relate to me in some way. So find that niche and allow people to grow the way that they need to grow. And then, find your priorities within your business and focus on those first. Okay. All right. If that's good for everybody, I'm going to stop the recording. I love y'all. I'm so thankful for everything that you do to pour into this team. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for you guys. And having that amazing group chat that we have, where I know that I can unplug a little bit on certain days when we have dance or gymnastics or something, and know that my team is taken care of, is a really beautiful blessing. So I just thank you for that and your time and your effort.